This video is about everything you need to know about Eula's kit. I spent the past week hunting for Eula's leaks and running the numbers on any information I can get my hands on. I am anticipating Eula to be this fast-paced character with smooth combos and would be super fun to play. She's going to slice and dice enemies and then absolutely destroy them with her ult that hits like a truck. She's going to be a Cryo claymore character that hits as fast as longswords, feels like something between Razor's and Diluc's playstyle, and has some ridiculous multipliers and resistance shred. She's going to be the best physical carry in the game. And if you're thinking Theorize or Melt teams are the best, well, after comparing some numbers, she might just beat Diluc in DPS by a mile. Who needs ping reactions when your raw numbers are just too good? Sorry Diluc, you're gonna be benched for now. If you want more Eula leaks analyzed, I make guides covering just that. Make sure to subscribe. I think the most confusing thing about Eula is her skill, because there are just so many numbers here and so many things tied to it, but don't worry, I gotcha. The most important thing you need to know about it is that pressing it makes you tankier and holding it makes you deal more damage. When you tap her skill, she does a swift forward slash dealing cryo damage on a very short cooldown. And when it hits an enemy, it generates a stack of Grimheart, which stacks up to 2 times. These Grimheart stacks increases Eula's resistance to interruption and increases her defense as well. Holding her E unleashes a more powerful slash that not only deals more damage, but also converts her Grimheart stacks into Iceworld brands that deal extra cryo damage on top of her E damage, which also decreases the physical and cryo resistance of enemies hit, the amount scales with her talent level, and it is pretty significant. Multiple Iceworld brands will make this effect last longer, so you might want to tap her skill twice and then use the hold version. This more powerful hit will have a longer cooldown though. This is also where her first Ascension passive comes into play. If 2 stacks of Grimheart are consumed by holding her skill and using the more powerful hit, a Lightfall Sword Remnant will be created and explode immediately, dealing physical damage that presumably scales with her ult levels. And at her first constellation, consuming Grimheart stacks will give Eula a 30% physical damage boost for 6 seconds, and an extra 6 seconds for each extra stack consumed, up to a maximum of 18 seconds. This is a free buff to her damage. Well, it does cost Primal Gems, but free of limitations or playstyle changes to use. And at her second constellation, the cooldown of holding her skill is massively reduced, down to 4 seconds. With this constellation, you will be able to use her skill more frequently, which means more damage, more energy for the team, more frequent Grimheart stacks, which makes Eula tankier, which means more Iceworld brands and Light Force Sword exploding, shredding resistances non-stop, and doing tons of damage. This simple effect sounds extremely powerful, and I did just hype it up, but it's only useful if you never switch off Eula. If you consider the longer cooldown as her downtime and switch to her supports, kinda like Hu Tao does, then this constellation doesn't actually provide any value. Onto her Ascension 4 passive though, when Eula's normal attacks crit, her skill cooldown is reduced by a small amount, and because her attacks are incredibly fast, it might be possible to cast her skill every 2 to 3 seconds. She might be the first character who you want to break the 1 to 2 crit rate crit damage ratio and prioritize getting 100% crit rate because of this passive. I cannot be sure without playtesting her though. Do take anything said in this video with a grain of salt. MiHoYo can change things whenever they want until her release. Speaking of her normal attacks, her whole combo is as fast as Diluc's, but it hits 7 times. 7 times! That's as fast as longsword users. And she's a claymore character. Imagine Kaching, but she's holding the debate club and she's coming for you with that thing. And with the short cooldown of her skill, she can do attack weave combos similar to Diluc. Not only that, her normal attack combo hits harder than everyone else's, her base attack is higher than everyone else, only beaten by Xiao, and she scales with crit damage, one of the most powerful stats. After some rough calculations, she has the potential to beat Diluc in DPS even without using her ult. And with her ult, she might just take the throne for the new DPS queen in Mondstadt. If you enjoyed this video so far, comment Eula come home for good luck, and go hit that like button as it would really help me out in the algorithm. Thank you so much for your support. With her ult, she swings her sword around, doing cryo damage, and creates a lightfall sword that follows her around for 7 seconds. After the 7 seconds, or when Eula leaves the field, the sword explodes, dealing a huge chunk of physical damage. And before the lightfall sword explodes, when she deals damage with her normal attacks, skill, or her ult, those attacks will charge the lightfall sword, and the more the sword is charged, the more damage the sword explosion will do, capping out at 30 stacks. I don't know if hitting multiple things gives multiple stacks yet, but assuming it doesn't, you would still be able to stack around 15 stacks. And at talent level 10, the sword explosion would deal a massive 2600% damage. Her 4th constellation makes her lightfall swords deal even more damage when the enemy is below 50% HP. It's conditional and the damage increase is okay, it's overall an average constellation. Her last constellation though, could double her ult damage. This makes her ult start with 5 stacks, and each time you damage an enemy, there's a 50-50 chance to gain 2 stacks instead of 1. This constellation makes stacking her ult damage to the max possible, dealing a ridiculous 4500% damage on the sword explosion at talent level 10. Looking back at all of Eula's constellations, I think her first and her last constellations are amazing, really strong and provide a lot of damage, but the rest are debatable. But even at C0, it's looking like Eula will be able to compete with the top DPS units. And that's great news for us low spending and free to play players. If you would like to know the best weapons for Eula, this is probably not the one. The next video will be about her best swords. Click right here. And if it's not on the screen right now, it's coming soon. Subscribe and get notified. If you want to keep up with the latest leaks and find buddies to play Genshin with, join the Discord, links in the description. Have a good day. Hoshings out.